Hey everybody, thanks for playing World of Tanks. Thanks for checking out this World of Tanks video. I'm Pearl Anthem, and with this channel, I don't focus on being an amazing player. I do focus on learning the game and improving at least little by little over time, and focusing on playing for the team win more than individual performance. Thanks for joining me with this video. We're going to talk about and look at fighting off light tanks. It's a pretty important part of the game, believe it or not. I think a lot of times people will ignore the enemy light tanks to their own demise and to the demise of their teammates. A lot of really good players play light tanks, and a lot of players play light tanks very well. It's pretty easy to ignore them, and all of a sudden they're behind you and shooting the backsides of your tank and shooting the backsides of the tanks of your allies. So this is, a variant of the Panama variant of the West Field map. I do think that it is important to play the West Field, or the northwest portion of the map. I'm in a medium tank, so I like to kind of keep it out in the open a little bit. For those of you who have made it through the T-54, you're able to see this is the stock turret with the stock gun, so this is the stock vehicle. I have not researched or purchased any packages on this vehicle. We have a pretty good deployment here. I'm staying low, using this ridge line, watching out. I'm kind of anticipating, you see where my gun's aimed, kind of anticipating one or both of those enemy light tanks kind of coming over one or more of these ridges or whatever, keeping my gun ready to get a shot in. So I'm not pushing over any kind of central or middle ridge here. If we're kind of to divide this map from A1 diagonally down through like K0, I'm not crossing that center dividing line into the enemy positions. I'm staying on my side. Anticipate that light tank, get a shot in there, and I fall back, keep myself mobile, keep my vehicle trajectory kind of uncertain, unpredictable, to avoid the enemy artillery fire. And also I fall back, giving myself a chance to reload and giving myself some time cushion and some space cushion in case that enemy light tank at that point in time had kind of come toward me, whether to fight me or whether to use my reload time as an opportunity to get past me, back say into my team spawn, whether the idea was to get behind my allies or to get at our artillery. I kind of fell back to kind of give myself cushion to continue fighting off that light tank in case that light tank had become aggressive and pushed into my position or my allies' positions. Now here at this point, I'm moving up into try to fight off some of these enemies that we see grouped together, getting behind this little ridge, hiding from this enemy light tank. And indeed, it looks like this enemy light tank is using this open space that I've created to get back behind our positions and kind of move toward our artillery. There's a straight on line for the lock-on shot. Now here I pause and let my reticle come in there with that change in direction. It gives me a chance to kind of shoot in front of the enemy light tank, light it on fire, get a lot of extra damage, and get the elimination. At this point I am staying mobile and kind of staying somewhat unpredictable in my movements in case the artillery wants to shoot at me. Moving back up here to safely fight off more of the enemy tanks. It looks like, again, our team has a pretty good deployment here. We have our heavies where I would want them to be in those close quarters positions. We have some light tanks and some tank destroyers kind of out toward the open. That heavy tank blocking the back door. Light tanks keeping things lit up. Destroyers keeping their guns in the fight. I've moved back up here toward the enemy positions. Expect that light tank to maybe consider pushing at me as I'm kind of on my own a little bit, so I can fall back, give myself some space and distance cushion there, and fall back behind some ridge lines. And I try to make sure that if I have line of fire on an enemy, that it's only one enemy at a time, and that helps to make sure that only one enemy at a time has line of fire on me. And as I become lit and targeted, I back up till I'm no longer lit. And again, that light tank does spot me up again. Try to take a shot here. It's a long hard shot to take, and that light tank was kind of moving around a little bit. Again, just kind of being mobile in case Artie wants to take a shot at a medium tank sitting still in the open. I don't make myself into that kind of a target. Again, good deployments here. Our heavy tanks, looks like, did eliminate any enemy vehicles up around the C2 area. And so at this point, 8-4 are the numbers up top. And we can see, given the space that we are able to identify that the enemy vehicles are kind of located within, basically it's saying kind of that southwest corner of the map. Oh, now it's 8-5. I thought that was saying 8-4 a little bit ago, but it's 8-5 at this point. It's pretty clear that the enemy team is kind of fortified up. They're kind of hiding down in that lower portions of the map, down in that watery area, using the rocks and the other forms of cover to their advantage. And so it's not really like we can push forward or charge into those enemy positions. We do have to be careful. And so at this point, I'm kind of wanting to, get down to that lower area to have shots at the enemy vehicles. At the same time, I want to make sure that I don't get shot up myself. I'm recognizing there's a tier 10 destroyer right over across the way there. So I'm thinking if I go over toward that area, I'm going to kind of get underneath that guy's position so that guy won't really have any shots at me unless he himself sort of pushes out into the open space and makes himself a target for my teammates. And this allows me not to shoot at that enemy destroyer near me, but it makes me safe from that enemy destroyer near me who's using that cover up there to have shots at his allies down in the low portions of the map over there, close to their capture circle. Again, if that enemy tank destroyer at K7 would want to have shots at me, that vehicle would have to move out into more open positions so that my team could take shots at that tank destroyer. And so of course that tank destroyer stays safe until that light tank finds a way to get some shots. May have baited that tank to shoot and then used that reload time as an opportunity to get in close and use that French light auto loading technology to get through the remaining hit points. So at this point I'm kind of taking some shots here. They're kind of some long range shots, and certainly those vehicles are using some cover pretty effectively. So these are some difficult shots for this stock T-54 to take effectively, using the opportunity to get up here and maybe get a better frame of perspective on those enemy tanks so that they don't have cover against my shots. And at this point, just 2 enemy vehicles remaining. Well, I did have some APCR set in place trying to get through the side of that E75, switch back to the regular AP ammunition for maybe getting a shot at this enemy light tank. And it doesn't look like I'm gonna get too much of a clear shot on that enemy light tank. Go ahead and move forward here. And considering that I'm still really early on in this T-54 playing its stock, I'll take the opportunity to get a few extra points of XP while sitting in the capture circle. I wouldn't do this in an effort to capture the base when we only have 1 or 2 enemies remaining. Indeed, if I thought there was a chance that I would capture out before we finished off the last 2 enemies, I would get out of the capture circle to make sure that we had a chance to fight them off. eliminate their hit points. As it was in this case, I knew I wasn't gonna capture the base. Just grab a couple extra points of XP. Well, with this match, we're able to take a look at some approaches to being in position to fight off light tanks, and then actually fighting off the light tanks as the light tanks attempted to cut through the middle open portions of the map and the kind of the middle open portions of our team's deployments. Staying mobile, staying safe, giving ourselves cushion for the reload in case the enemy tanks tried to get close to us or get behind us. That way making it harder for them to get close or get behind us. Thanks for taking a look at this World of Tanks video. Thanks for playing World of Tanks.